Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti community. So good to see you all. Some familiar names and some familiar faces, some not so much, but we will get to know each other over the next couple of days and weeks. Um, Thank you all for your interest in the Bhakti community and to learn more about meditation and who we are and ourselves and discover yourself. Um, so the way we thought we would um, start this conversation would be by introductions. What better way, right? So if everybody could share your name, where you're from, what's your experience with bhakti, meditation, mindfulness, spirituality, and what do you hope to get out of the discover yourself process over the next 8 weeks. That would be wonderful. And as we set out to do this, everyone, we all are coming in from different experiences and all approaching this concept of discover yourself. So just know that this is a safe space for all of us to express, question, um, ponder, reflect. So let's do that together. Who wants to start with the introductions? I can start with my introduction in the meantime while you all think. I am Raghav Goyal. I am originally from Delhi and I live in Sammamish. Um, what has been my experience with spirituality? I grew up as an atheist, not believing in spirituality, bhakti, yoga, any of that sort. But I got introduced to it when I was doing my undergrad, and which was 20 years back. I'm that old. Um, and ever since that, it has been blissful 20 years. And what I do hope to get out of Discover Yourself, yes, I am. Um, and what I do hope to get out of Discover Yourself is every time I do this exercise, I learn a little bit more about um, who I truly am, and I want to keep reminding myself of that learning and to calm my mind. So, with that, who wants to go next?
I can go next. So my name is Kid Love. I use they, she pronouns. I am from Seattle. My experience with spirituality and is kind of all over the place. I grew up Christian and got away from that pretty quickly and got interested in Buddhism probably in my 20s. Just kind of light, kind of lightly engaged with that. Recently got into a more dedicated practice of just kind of secular mindfulness and um, by way of Deva Premal, kind of got into some interest in more kind of bhakti stuff and yeah, currently studying some mindfulness stuff for teaching individuals and groups and so that's kind of that. And yeah, I just was kind of just made aware of this yesterday, and so I just kind of wanted to check it out and see what the community was doing. So
Welcome, kid.
thank you.
I'll go next. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Very well.
I'm in the bathtub, but no video. Um, but my name's Nicole. I grew up on Orcas Island, but I live in Northeast Seattle now. My experience is kind of minimal. I'm definitely on the spiritual side. I kind of dabbled in some Buddhism in my like mid 30s. I am currently on a spiritual kind of journey of kind of figuring out things, and part of it's healing. And so just practicing a lot of mindfulness and trying different things like this to kind of discover more myself. I was actually just at the Kirtan this last week, so that's where it's kind of started hearing about the mantra house. And I just got this WhatsApp and I was like, oh, it's tonight. I'll jump on and while I'm in the bath and see how this goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some more of these under my belt, and I love what you guys are doing. So thank you very much for putting these things on.
Welcome, Nicole.
I can share real quick. So I'm Ian. I'm from Redmond, born, brought up in Redmond. I haven't really moved much, I think I've always lived within like a 5 mile radius. So um what is your experience with spirituality? I was kind of brought up in a spiritual household. It wasn't something that I was really intrigued in until I came into college and then graduated from college. I think that's when a lot of self-questioning started, and that's when I started to really explore spirituality. So I like to think that I'm still really early on in understanding, who we are, what is our purpose, all these things. And then what do I hope to get out of the Discover Yourself series? I think this is the third time I'd be like going through it, and every time I learned so much from the discussion. So I'm specifically looking forward to the discussion, the perspectives that everybody has to share, because every time it's really enlightening.
Thank you, Ian. That's before you start your new job at Microsoft.
I can share. My name is Paco Francisco. I'm from Mexico, but I'm living in Seattle right now. I have a deep history with spirituality, with indigenous practices in Mexico. Unfortunately, like a religion that will go unnamed took away a lot of that, so I'm going back into that, and in that, I've discovered mindfulness to be really helpful, and I discovered this group to have a similar perspective to healing that happens like in cultures of Mexico before its history with Europe. And I hope to discover myself. I was recently in love with someone, and love is so complicated. It touches on every single emotion that I've ever experienced in my life. So I'm trying to figure out how much of that was like me that I'm still working on, or if I'm like in limerence with this person, or where I'm at. So yeah, I'm looking forward to yeah, okay, thanks.
That's super interesting, Paco. Thanks for sharing.
I can go next. I am Deepak. I live in Redmond. I'm originally from India, moved to US around 25 years ago. And you will think that, oh, coming from India, Buddhism, you name any spirituality, like it seems that it has originated from India, right? It has some way, some connection. But, I wouldn't call myself a spirituality like a spiritual when I came here. I knew the things, but what is truly spirituality is something I grew up by after I moved to US, and that is through the questions which Paco you are asking, or Quid you mentioned, that knowing more about myself, why I am here. Is there a purpose why I am born here? Why I got the wife I got? Why I got the job what I got? So I started asking those questions, and it was not that is a some big mysterious event happened. It was the inquisitive question I had in my mind, and through that process, I started reading books, going to uh, classes, exploring these things, and then what I got is just amazing. Means I have been practicing it now seriously since last around 15 17 years, you can say 15 years really seriously. And I have seen how it has changed my life. I can see the things in relationship that I can see the relationship between even the stranger when I meet. I can see that how we are connected, and through this discovery process, the spirituality. I think now I get that the spirituality means that we are all spirit beings and we are connected with each other. So that's how it really helped me, and I'm here to just be the part of the community, contribute or help in any way. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Francie Wong. I guess it's my turn. I'm from Hong Kong. Now I'm living in Seattle. Yeah, and I I do more my I mean I used to do yoga quite a lot. Not really a lot, but many years ago. But then, I'm getting more serious lately, trying to join more mindfulness and yoga class, and I'm a kind of like a beginner. And yeah, I would like to know more about myself, and yeah, and hope to get more from here, and yeah, learning experiences from each other. Yeah, from all of you here. Thank you.
Welcome, Francie. I guess we now have Preeti, if you would like to share. Maybe not. Let's whenever Preeti is back. Um, okay, so as we get started, and this being our first, this is the Discover Yourself series. We meet for 8 weeks, every Tuesday, 6:30 to 7:30. And every week we pick up a concept, and then we dive deep into this. And the 8 sessions that we have are, the first one is about harmonizing the body, mind, and spirit through meditation. Then we go into what's the pursuit of happiness? We all are looking for happiness. And then we talk about consciousness, which is the missing link most often between happiness and distress. And then we talk about the mind, um, the moods and modes, and then ultimately about the law of karma. How does it do justice? And integrated with the learnings around free will, destiny. If everything is decided by karma, what is the point of free will? Do we have free will? What is destiny in that case? And last, we talk about spiritual evolution. So these are the 8 sessions in a series that hopefully will spark a lot of interesting questions or help us get deeper in terms of questions that we already have been having with ourselves. If, so typically, if you go to the previous one, or if you, typically the way we do each of these sessions, everyone, is we have a quick introduction. We'll watch a video or two together for about 10 minutes. And majority of the time, about 40 minutes, we want to spend um, doing answering a couple of questions, where we are essentially discovering through those questions what did we learn from the video, what our own experiences have been um, of these concepts, and how do we apply these concepts in our real life. And through these question answer reflections, we hope to get deeper to answer who we really are and discover ourselves. So that's these sessions in a nutshell. Let's get started with today's video.
Harmonizing body, mind, and spirit through meditation. According to the National Health Interview Survey, 75% of the general population in America experiences at least some stress every 2 weeks. Millions of people around the world suffer from unhealthy levels of stress. This stress contributes to heart disease, high blood pressure, strokes, and affects the immune system in many individuals. Throughout the day, when we experience stress, our body automatically reacts in ways that prepare us to fight or run. In some cases of extreme danger, the physical response is helpful. However, a prolonged state of such agitation can cause physical damage in every part of the body. One of the main causes body, mind, and spirit. Meditation is a means by which the body, mind, and spirit can be harmonized. Meditation affects the body in exactly the opposite ways that stress does, restoring the body to a calm state, helping the body to repair itself, and prevent new damage due to the physical effects of stress. The mental relaxation that meditation brings has real physiological benefits. The American Heart Association reports recent studies funded by National Institutes of Health that those practicing meditation lowered their blood pressure and reported less stress and anger, and exhibited a direct correlation between meditation and decreased incidence of heart attack and stroke. For thousands of years, spiritual traditions from around the world have emphasized the need for a balanced practice of contemplation and meditation in our individual lives. Today, science and biology affirm the same. What is meditation? According to the Webster Dictionary, the meaning of the word meditate is to engage in contemplation or reflection, or to engage in mental exercise for the purpose of reaching a heightened level of spiritual awareness. The main objective of meditation is to focus one's attention. It could be a focus on sensations of breathing, or emotions or thoughts, or sound vibrations. Ultimately, it's about bringing the mind back to here and now, as opposed to letting the mind drift. Meditation helps stabilize the mind and calm the senses of the body. However, the purpose of meditation is not to simply stabilize the mind as an end in itself, but to use the stabilized, sharpened mind to achieve a higher state of consciousness, which brings serenity, clarity, and bliss for the spirit within. Different kinds of meditation. Meditation can be practiced in many different ways. While there are numerous different meditation techniques, a common thread runs through virtually all meditative techniques. Being in the now, rather than focusing on the past or the future, virtually all meditative practices involve focusing on right now. This involves experiencing each moment, letting it go, and experiencing the next. Altered state of consciousness. With time, maintaining a quiet mind and focus on the present can lead to an altered level of consciousness that isn't a sleeping state, but isn't quite the average wakeful state either. Meditation increases brain activity in an area of the brain associated with happiness, positive thoughts, and emotions. Regular practice brings prolonged positive changes in these areas. Researchers generally classify meditation techniques into two different categories: concentrative and non-concentrative. Concentrative techniques involve focusing on a particular object that's generally outside of oneself: a candle's flame, the sound of an instrument, or a particular mantra. Non-concentrative meditation, on the other hand, can include a broader focus: the sounds in one's environment as well as internal body states and one's own breathing. Mantra meditation. Let us explore one of the forms of meditation: mantra meditation, or meditation on sound vibrations. Mantra is a Sanskrit word which means that which frees the mind. A mantra is a sound vibration that frees the mind from all stress and built up negative emotional energies like anger, vengeance, envy, and prepares the mind to tune in to the positive emotional energies like forgiveness, tolerance, compassion, and humility. Sound vibrations have the potency to alter the state of our mind. If someone speaks to us rudely, our mind becomes depressed. If someone speaks to us with kindness and love, our mind becomes elated. If we hear our favorite song or music, our mind becomes relaxed. Powerful speeches from great leaders have inspired the minds of people to create revolutions in history. These are all the effects of sound vibrations altering the state of the mind. Mantra meditation is based on this principle. The mantra recommended to overcome the ill effects of this age of disagreement and duplicity is the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare is the spiritual feminine energy which is all-accepting, all-forgiving, and all-loving. Krishna is the all-attractive source of beauty, love, power, and truth. Rama is the reservoir of ecstatic spiritual pleasure, the joy of giving and serving. The combination of these three words as arranged in the mantra calls upon the facilities within us that illuminate the mind with spiritual energy. The 3P formula. Mantra meditation can be easily performed by following the 3P formula. Posture. One should sit in a comfortable, relaxed position, neither too rigid nor too flexible. Pronunciation. Each syllable of the mantra must be pronounced clearly so as to produce the right sound vibration. Mantra meditation is all about focusing the mind on hearing the sound vibration, and hence pronouncing all the syllables correctly is very important. Prayer. While focusing on the sound vibration, the practitioner is encouraged to meditate on the meaning of each word as mentioned above. This chanting is a call for grace. An attitude of gratitude prepares the mind to tune into higher realms of consciousness. Overcoming challenges during meditation. One of the major stumbling blocks for a meditation practitioner has been to contend with the restless mind. Unless the mind is purified of its lower, base instincts, it will continue to provide newer challenges and obstacles. Wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita, an ancient text on Bhakti Yoga, says, "For one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy." The constant practice of the process of mantra meditation helps tame the restless mind by gradually befriending it. A regulated lifestyle of healthy diet, discipline, and positive association helps in reducing distractions and in steadying the mind. The activities that we perform during the entire day have a profound impact on the mind's response during meditation.
The quality of the sound that you hear every day will equal the quality of your life, because sound is transformational. It's the most subtle element, and the kind of sound we choose to hear has consequences. There's high sound and low sound. High sound is spiritual sound, and low sound is material sound. This is how the ancient Vedic wisdom texts put it. That brings us to the topic of mantra meditation. A mantra is a combination of syllables which are inherently spiritual. By repeating the mantra, the mind is delivered. In fact, the word mantra means man, mind, and tra, to deliver. Mantra, that sound vibration that delivers the mind from anxiety and from attachment to the unreal or the temporary. Everything in this world resonates at a certain level of sound vibration. So if I keep two tuning forks and I hit one, the other one will pick up the sound vibration from the first one and will also begin to resonate, even though they're not touching. In a similar way, when we chant the mantra, the vibration will resonate with our spiritual self. That's our higher self. When we hear material sound vibration, it resonates with the physical and mental body, which keeps us bound to the material realm. See, just by repeating the mantra itself will resonate with our higher self, and it will expand our consciousness, bringing us to higher levels of awareness. Some people describe a mantra as a seed. When you plant a seed, it looks insignificant. But one day, this tree behind me was an insignificant seed. But now, it's a huge tree that gives shelter to thousands, if not millions, of living entities. In the same way, the mantra, although it looks like an ordinary phrase,
when chanted and listened to and watered by giving one's attention, grows into something wonderful. And that's for you to experience. When you water the mantra by chanting it, hearing it, giving it your attention, you'll not only gain the power of focus, but you'll also learn the wonders of the mantra, or rather, the mantra will reveal its wonders to you. In more modern terms, a mantra is like a zip file. It just looks like a little icon. But when you click on that icon, it opens up volumes of information. Some mantras are only one syllable. For instance, Om, one syllable. But when you chant that mantra, it'll open to you all the information in the universe. All the yoga wisdom texts agree that in our particular age, called the age of Kali, the best way to meditate is through mantra meditation. In part 2, I'll tell you exactly how to chant the mantra. Stay tuned.
Wonderful. Those were words of wisdom. So before we jump into discussion about the topics that we heard about, let's do a quick icebreaker. What is the most satisfactory job that you have ever done? Nicole, we could barely hear you.
Oh, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
My most satisfactory job, probably the one I have now. I actually work for myself. I'm a private chef and small event caterer. So I like having the free time and the flexibility and creating my own schedule and being my own boss.
That's wonderful.
I I volunteered for the Secretary of Education in Mexico, and I was helping children and their families who were deported from the US reestablish a life over there. And it was just really incredible to be a part of like giving people hope again. It's something that I miss a lot because I think it's something that I'm always seeking for when I interact with people, something to like hold on to like live for. It was just nice to be a part of that for someone else.
Beautiful.
Well, I'll go, I guess. I think it's kind of a toss-up for me. I've had a couple of good, really great opportunities. I've done some filmmaking stuff, and I've got to work with some really cool people and do some creative things, which is good. I think for me, I'm one of the things I do is I do some creativity and existential wellness coaching. And I've had some really good opportunities recently to where I've just worked with some folks like and impromptu, like it wasn't even a scheduled thing, but just someone said, "Hey, I've got this thing going on," and I, talked to them and talked through it with them, and then just saw a kind of a profound shift and a change in them. So it's really rewarding work, I think.
Oh, that's fascinating. Good.
I don't know if this is like would be like the most satisfactory job, but like I code, I come from like a bit of a computer science background, so I feel like whenever I'm stuck, but the code actually works, I think that level of happiness cannot be beat. Sometimes I don't know why it works, but it works, and I'm over the moon.
I can go next. Um, my most satisfying job was, I suppose, my initial days. I used to run a company for education, and we used to teach technology to the kids who cannot afford to learn due to the access they had either in the school or the economical background. So that a small company provided them the education, and that was very fulfilling for me.
Thank you, Deepak.
Yeah, I worked in a school too, and it was really rewarding. Just working with kids every day, and um, yeah, it's a meaningful job, so that's cool. Um, yeah, I guess that's one for me too.
Thank you. Do you mind sharing your name and who you are for the group? We did introductions earlier on.
Oh,
Did you come across as Zoom user?
Raghav, it's me, it's Jeremy.
Yes, I know that. I could make that out from your side, from your voice. But maybe for the others, Jay?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, I'll let some other people go.
And then Preeti shared that sleeping gives her most satisfaction apart from working at school. Wow. Are you a student, Preeti? Or are you a teacher? Or are you both? Or something else? But sleeping does sound very paraprofessional, wonderful. Okay, sleeping does give a lot of joy. I can share. My most satisfying job was when I was a student at MIT. At that time, I volunteered for a business conference. And at that conference, I happened to meet, it was a small conference, but we were able to grow it to about 700 attendees. And while it was about how can we leverage spirituality for and business lessons from spirituality. And I loved every minute of it. And that is where I met somebody who has touched my life and inspired me since then. So that feels like the most rewarding job because it helped me meet the person who has inspired me for the last 10 years.
Yeah, love that. Thanks.
Anybody else wants to go? Okay, then let's get into our Q&A. So, what are the benefits of meditation? Let's discuss.
Well, it's really grounding. Like there are moments where it regulates the nervous system. I use it in therapy with clients for like DBT, or when we start a session, I'm like, okay, let's just take a quick breath and like bring it in and slow down. So in that sense, it is super good for the nervous system. The internal one, not I haven't tried the external one with a client like ever, where like looking at a candle during the video. Yeah.
It's a good one.
I agree with that. I also think that it, for me, when I did a Vipassana years ago, but during then, I think that it was beneficial to me in I hold pain and emotions all over my body. So for me, it almost targeted certain points in my body, and I would instantly know where it came from, like where the guilt or the shame or wherever, or a memory or a visualization, of that. And I was able to like let it go and release it. So I think a lot of it, is releasing a lot of pain in our bodies and things that we carry with us.
It prepares us, yeah.
I think for me that mindfulness helps to kind of train the mind to remove that kind of instant judgment we have normally of when something happens or someone says something or we're feeling a certain way, it's easy just to get into that instant reaction and get angry or get upset or have a bad day or get depressed. And I think, doing that mindfulness on a regular basis just helps kind of train you to just to have that little split second where you're just observing and not judging right away, where you can kind of choose to, not react or to think of it differently. So, yeah.
Wonderful. I love what you shared because it is absolutely right that meditation helps us get into a calm state and it helps us become more of an observer for at least a split second. And that is why it reduces the stress. It helps us repair our body. We are not reacting, but we get the opportunity to respond. Wonderfully said. Good. Any other perspectives?
I
Yes.
actually have a question. Sorry, Akanksha here. I'm having spotty network, so I wasn't able to speak earlier. I have a question on meditation, because I've heard two variations of what meditation means. Is it about being thoughtless or is it about redirecting your thoughts? So, like understanding that would be getting a perspective would be great.
That's a very, very good question, Akanksha, and that is exactly the next question that we have, which is what are the different kinds of meditations? So Akanksha talked about two, thoughtless or redirecting. What did we hear in the video that we shared a little bit? And then Akanksha, I promise we'll come to your question very soon.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was that a question for me or everyone?
For everyone. For
Oh,
everyone.
okay, never mind.
Okay. But if you want to answer.
No, no, oh my God, no.
What are the different kinds of meditation? And what's unique about mantra meditation?
Hmm. Well, I think one of the things that's unique about mantra meditation is that it is a focus on sound, and one of the things, just some context, one of the things that I do is I lead a group that does contemplative improvisation, which is also kind of a meditation based on sound. And I think taking away things that have kind of human meaning, word, like even though they're words, but I think unless you speak Sanskrit a lot, I think most people don't attribute a whole bundle of other meanings to the words and mantra. And so really just connecting with the sound and the pure spiritual energy of the sound um, is kind of a higher way to kind of get the mind out of the way, to get the thinking out of the way, and just really kind of clear things out and yeah, connect in that way. So.
Mantra meditation is focusing on the sound vibrations.
I do enjoy the mantra meditation. I've never really done it alone. It's usually with a bunch of other people, whereas like personal meditation I do alone. So I do enjoy that aspect of like you feel the energy change midway and or whenever I guess you change, you feel the energy that's always been there. I don't know. But I do appreciate that it's a more of a collective community endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Paco's point reminds me, I think you were there, but like I was reading from a book recently called Chant and Be Happy, and it talks about that there's two types of meditation. There's personal and collective meditation. And I totally get what you're saying about the collective meditation. It's almost as if the power of meditation is magnified uh, through sound vibration, which I guess is, the part which is about mantra meditation, but it's different from other types of meditation because sound vibration is physical, metaphysical. I'm not really sure, but
Beautiful, and yeah. So it could be individual, it could be collective. That's one way of classifying them. Another way of classifying them is concentrative and non-concentrative. In concentrative, we are focusing on a particular object or a mantra. In non-concentrative, we are focusing, broader focus on the sounds in one's environment or our own breathing. So many different, and mantra meditation is the best form of the concentrative technique. To answer your question, Akanksha, is meditation thoughtful or thoughtless? Here is how I understand. Meditation is about being present in the moment. It is not about living in the past or thinking about the future. Most of our thoughts are about what happened in the past and what could happen in the future. And therefore, meditation to me is very much in the moment. What are we experiencing? And focusing on the sound or focusing on a particular object rather than trying to um, always keep my mind empty. One of the things about keeping the mind empty is even telling the mind not to think about something, the mind will think about something. Like, let's try for a moment, like, don't look at the screen, everyone. And everybody would want to look at the screen, right? So if we tell our mind not to think, like it will automatically think. So therefore, we are always thinking because we are mindful beings. We have a mind. And meditation brings us to the stage of where we can be present in the moment rather than being in the past or in the future. Does that answer your question, Akanksha?
Sure, yeah. No, thanks for sharing what it means to you.
something which, just as you were talking, Raghu, something that stuck out to me between thoughtful and thoughtless. I was thinking even about the example of, like meditating on a flame. To some extent, I still feel like you have to be thinking about something. I don't think as humans we have the ability to just turn off the brain. Even like a flame, or if it's like nature meditation, or if it's like sound meditation, it's I think there's more common than we think in regards to, I think they just engage the minds in different ways. My mantra maybe is more direct in the sense of you're now engaging yourself in the mantra rather than, like, I guess in like a flame, it's maybe like more creative thinking, I guess. I'm just thinking out loud now, but yeah, I was just trying to say that I think it's not possible for the mind to be empty. At least I haven't experienced it. So if any of you have, let me know.
Yeah, if I can add, means of course there are people who try to empty the mind, and there are techniques which say that you can just get rid of all your thoughts. But so of course when we think, see, from the logicalist perspective, I have to stabilize the mind, right? So one thing I'll say, through negation, get rid of all the thoughts. So that's one way logically I would think. The other will be redirect, as Akansha, you were telling, redirect in a more constructive way, right? Where all the thoughts which are going in all different directions, they all can be put into a way where it becomes more constructive, right? So one is negation, one is on the positive side. And as you all are sharing, some of you are sharing, this technique of negation is very hard because we live in a world which is full of distraction all the time, right? So it's a very hard technique, and I haven't seen lot of success with the people I have talked. Like it just remains, and that's one of the technique which they use is looking at the lamp all the time and then focusing and saying that okay, and looking at okay, there's nothing, it's a void. Redirection. So of course, both technique exist. What we have seen more practical for the current environment where we live is more redirection in a more constructive way.
Thank you for sharing feedback. Very helpful. Okay, moving along. Explain the effects of sound on our way of thinking. Just give me 1 second. My laptop is acting up.
I can help. Explain the effects of sound vibrations on the mind with the help of an example.
I can give it a shot, I guess. I think I know there was mention in the video of kind of higher and lower sounds. And I think there are sounds that are environmental that tend to be grounding and to bring us, really kind of into our body and to like nature sounds and things of that, kind of like that, or even traffic sounds or the sounds of water that kind of anchor us to our being. And then I think there are kind of higher level sounds like, things that come in chanting or mantra or some types of numinous music that kind of elevate us into more of kind of a spiritual zone and kind of give us more of a connectedness to the higher self and higher consciousness and spirituality. And so.
Very well put.
Does anybody else have a cat? Because I just think it's really interesting how my cat can vibrate sound to itself to repair its body. I think that's really amazing that there's like nature has that ability. And I think it's a very, yeah. I don't know, they meditate, the cat meditates.
Wait, so that's why cats do that? I had
Yeah,
no
they're
idea.
literally they're like repairing cells in their body and they're like triggering like damn near ketosis in their body and they're just like
Wow, that's amazing. No idea.
Yeah, that was totally new. I really like that, and it makes complete sense to me actually, Paco.
That reminds me of I was reading the study recently where they put plants next to like Beethoven classical music and then some plants that were like next to like really aggressive sounds like cars honking and all that kind of good stuff. And in the experiment they concluded that the plant actually near sound vibrations that were like more classical Beethoven-like, those plants were thriving better and doing better than the ones that were near those other sounds. And it reminds me, there's this like idea that um uh like when kids are born, some parents like make their kids listen to just Beethoven with the idea that, oh, they're gonna grow up to be smarter. I just remembered that. It's like, the same experiment on plants.
Nice. I feel the same because when I'm driving, and I like to put music when I'm driving. If I'm listening to rock music, then I would drive very fast, and two of my tickets have been when I've been listening to rock music versus when I'm listening to mantras or kirtan, then I'm driving much more calm and slow. So sound definitely alters the state of mind. For me too. Okay. Um, what are some of the challenges faced by a practitioner during meditation?
Well, I
So
think obviously interruptions, or if you haven't properly set aside time and and kind of prepared for any interruptions that might be. I think your mindset coming into it. If you have done some really heavy activity or whatever prior, and coming into meditation and trying to slow down can be difficult, I think. And also I think tiredness, can be a problem, because you can either have a hard time, kind of focusing, or you can fall asleep while you're meditating. So, yeah.
absolutely interruptions. And Preeti in the chat is also saying the mind wanders, brings up several thoughts instead of focusing. Yes, interruptions and wandering. The mind is so restless, right? It just keeps on going in every direction you don't want it to go in.
What Quid and meant, like it just seemed like life in general. What you've done earlier in the day, if you're tired, a notification that you can't, wait on. Yeah, it reminds me of the saying, like, cluttered room, cluttered mind. I know my parents have told that to me a lot growing up. But I think it holds true in this case as well. So I think the environment you do meditation in matters a lot. And living in cities, I think sometimes makes it hard, but we all have to find our space when we're able to concentrate a time, space, circumstance in our lives when the world is most quiet.
Very interesting you say that, Ayan, because that connects to what Deepak had said earlier, that in this environment and in this situation, the city lives that we have, that's one of the reasons why thoughtless meditation is so hard. We have to redirect because there are so many notifications and technology at our disposal that we get distracted very, very, very quickly. And that's why the pursuit of mantra meditation, so that we can focus on the elevated sound, the high sound that Kud was mentioning, um, and focus there, um, and get our
I
restless
did
mind to calm down a little bit.
I did appreciate how they talked about the mind as a friend, as opposed to like an enemy. And I think in Western thought, even in like I've been taught like the mind is like a tool. So something that to be used, and if it gets out of control, then that's on the user's fault. And I did like hearing this. It's like, oh, why don't I look at it as like a friend as opposed to like an enemy or a tool? Um, so hopefully I can change my relationship. Which if anybody has posts like on videos on these meditations, send them.
You know what, Paco, you will love it that one of our session is dedicated to mind. Is it how to transition it from a to a friend from a foe? So session 4 is all about mind, a friend or a foe. So yeah, this is such an important revelation. I remember like when I did it first, I was like, wow, this is possible. Okay. Um, last, what kind of a lifestyle? So we learned is we need to have a good surroundings. We don't need to have cluttered rooms. We need to make sure that we overcome the challenges of distraction. So, what kind of a lifestyle is conducive for the practice of meditation?
I think the things that were pointed out in the video were healthy body, healthy mind, like I think probably being around the right kind of people, and creating the right environment for yourself. I think a couple of things that weren't mentioned is, having a safe environment, having a sanctuary where you can feel that you're safe and protected and not going to come to harm is important. Yeah, and hopefully a quiet environment.
I totally agree with you what you're saying, Kurt, right? Because see, in the city life, right, when there are so many honking, all the things are happening, people are more distracted, while the people who are lives on the serene side, right, and the less like quieter places, right? They are more internal. So totally agree what you said.
I know something that has personally helped me in my practice of meditation, I feel like is just like regulation or consistency, always having the same time and place to do it. Um, and there's a book I've been meaning to read, but my friends have read it. It's called Atomic Habits. And in there they talk about, setting goals that sometimes seem stupidly dumb. Like for example, if you want to read a book, don't even read the book, but put the book on the table. And then one day you'll start learning to pick it up. So for me, when it came to meditation, like I think it was essentially that, setting goals that are really small, but I can do them consistently and then going from there.
I love that point. That's also a really good book. I read it as well.
So now that will put more pressure on Ayan to read that now.
Yes, all my friends, so many people have told me to read it. They say it's the best non-spiritual spiritual book because it teaches you like all these things that can be used in self-growth.
Yeah. One other thing that has helped me is having the right community around me and the right association around me, because if I'm surrounding myself with positive people, like-minded people who are also interested in meditation, I think like it creates a little bit more accountability. They're my accountability buddies. So that was especially helpful when I started my meditation practice, because we could then discuss our experiences together. Wonderful, folks. So, any reflections from today? One, maybe we can all, it's almost time, so maybe we all can share one takeaway from today.
And if you're struggling to find a takeaway, I put a Google Doc with notes for today's session. So if you're having trouble, open that up, pick a sentence, and you can share that out.
For me, the best takeaway was the energy in this group. Actually, everybody is chiming, and it seems like as if we know each other really well. So, and the concept, the thoughts which is going around. So, I really love the interaction in this group today.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that was my takeaway. It was just the nice to have some community and other people to talk about and talk with things, and yeah, nice to share.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I liked how it kind of gave an introduction to the different types of meditation. How you can focus inwardly or outwardly, or you can, yeah, there's different types of approaches, and so, and I think that's what's kind of cool is, I think it could be prescriptive, depending on what you're needing in the moment, and like whether you need to focus on the present, not the past and the future, like Raghav said, or whatever you kind of need in the moment. Because I've had different types of meditation experiences. So yeah, I think I'm excited to learn about this stuff with you guys. So
Wonderful. Paco says, being a friend of the mind. Yes. I'm glad you feel more grounded after this Zoom group. Wonderful, Paco. Thank you all for joining. We are at time. I absolutely loved hearing from all of you and hearing your perspectives and your realizations and discussing. And really, through the community, we will keep learning and experiencing this together. So looking forward to seeing you all next Tuesday. And until then, if there are any questions, thoughts, feel free to reach out to Ian or me.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Next week's session is the pursuit of happiness. So if you want to be happy, next week is the time to join.
Noted.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Right.